Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, my deepest condolences to the people that were killed. And there's still a lot of people still missing in the Texas flooding back in Hunt, Texas, in a place called Mystic Camp, or Camp Mystic, however you want to put it. Ladies and gentlemen, over 69 people, between 69 and 80, have passed away. Many of them young ones. Kids. Ladies and gentlemen, including the camp founder, the one that was running the camp. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to make this video nice, short, and sweet. Let me just tell you. And I'm going to show you how everything is connected. There was once a great operator, the original operator, which completely twisted humanity's fate, completely introduced humanity into a different philosophy, into a different wisdom, into a different ideas, into a different conception of reality, which was based on deceit and evil. And humanity fell for the game. I'm just going to read to you the conversation that took place, even though you probably heard it thousands of times already. But I'm going to show you how everything connects, okay? How to connect the dots. Here we go. Genesis chapter 3 in the Holy Scriptures. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, had God said you should not eat of every tree of the garden? 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But not, verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. 5. For God doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now take a look at this verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave it unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why did I read this to you? Because that was the first operator, smooth operator of all time. And that's how humanity fell from its creator's grace. And we began to die. Now, Adam lived to 930 years. So the earth was populated. See, people got this idea that Adam and Eve had kids. They had Cain and Abel. No, ladies and gentlemen. Before Cain and Abel came on the scene, Adam was getting busy. Because remember, what was God's commandment? What was God's first order to man? Multiply. It's right there. Multiply and replenish the earth. So the purpose of life, the purpose of the human existence upon this planet was God was going to what? Multiply himself through us. And we were meant to live forever. And ever since then, we have become operators. Mini operators. Okay? And now in these last days of human existence upon this planet as we know it, the devil has chosen a corporation, not even a nation, a whore called America. She is the daughter of Babylon. Babylon, the first beast, is the Roman Catholic Church. And the second beast is the United States of America. I have proven that to you beyond any shadow of a doubt, if you've been listening to my video. But let me just quickly give you some of the operations that have been introduced and play in American society, the most naive nation in the world and the leading nation. So as America goes, so goes the world, right? Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready for the truth? Can you handle the truth? This is probably too big, man, for people that are sleeping. So I suggest that if you understand it by you doing your own research, and then you subscribe to my channel, you spread and share this knowledge. Because what is about to come to America, what happened in Texas was nothing. Okay? Let us begin. And by the way, everything all the operations, I call them operations of death, because that's all the sad human existence upon this planet. Ever since we went the devil's way, Satan's ways, that's how it's been. Okay, so I'm going to start first of all with the religious operation, the religion operation. Through our human history, men have worshipped gods. Okay? You name it. You name the empire, the human civilization, they worship gods. But in reality, let me give you an example. They worship God Ra, R-A, Ra, under the Egyptian dynasty. All of these pagan gods have actually been the devil himself. Okay? So the religious operation, check, have been played through, and it have been played throughout many different empires, including the last empire, which was the Roman Empire, which is where the Roman Catholic Church, the first beast, was created under the Emperor Constantine, back in the year what? 325, in the Council of Nicaea. Okay? Next one is what? The political operations. Okay? political operations. People think that their vote counts. People think by submitting to government, they are doing the correct thing, even though the Bible tells us in Romans that we should submit as long as their laws does not interfere with our relationship with our Creator. Okay, so the political system that have been played through human history, from the Babylon Empire to the Persian Empire to the Greek Empire and to the Roman Empire, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the Ottoman Empire, which ended back in 1926. So that again, the political operation have been play on the human mind, and that's why they follow their government. And now you see why religion and politicians go hand in hand, because they are bird. They are feathers of the same bird. Now I'm going to start you off with reason psychological operation, because what I'm telling you here, ladies and gentlemen, these are all psyops, psychological operation, Mockingbird operation. It was where the CIA controlling the media, and that's nothing new, and it shouldn't surprise us, because any society, that's what it does, because the media brainwash the masses. Number 2, paperclip operation. That's when the America brought the Nazi scientists to America. Okay, and remember, what's his name? Von Braun. He was the man that started the NASA, the father of NASA. All right, and you saw what he did. You saw what he did. What he wished to write on his tombstone. A verse from the Bible. I believe it's 19. Number 3, Operation Popeyes, which connects to what happened in Texas. Operation Popeye, Operation Popeye, or Popeye Operation, in whatever order you want to put it, was an operation meant messing with the weather. The American was making it rain in many different fields, so that the enemy's tanks and troops would get stuck in the mud. Ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, America got into the Vietnam War through the Gulf of Tonkin explosion. They wanted an excuse to join because everything is about taking territory. Okay, that's all it is. Everything is about taking territory from people. All right, so Papa Operation, but as you know, it didn't work. America lost the war. You want to play God? Let's see how it's gonna work out for you. Four, the education and college and university operations. Any society without an educated society, right? You may think, well, it will lag behind it would not be a leading nation, a civilized nation. But the way they went about it, establishing and running the education system, the colleges and university, was as a pledge to Satan himself. Because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, for instance, in Yale University, you got organization, satanic organization called Skull and Bones, where George Bush, the Bush family, was part of. George Bush Jr. was part of it, and he became president. So these colleges and universities in the United States of America are the devil's dens for the future what? Workers, which is a completely lie. Because when people, again, everything is a lie, ladies and gentlemen, because when people graduate from college or university, they will be a slave to the system because they will owe a lot of money through student loans. The pharmaceutical industry operation, drug trafficking. This is a combination of both. If you keep a nation high, you will control them. Now you see why leaders in different states, let me give you some example. California, Minnesota, New York, they all legalize the use of marijuana. They call it medicinal drug marijuana. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't that how everything started? You think they know the human mind just like the father, the God, the devil. No wonder in the money they put what? In God we trust, because the God is Satan is their God. How are you going to legalize marijuana? And these people are so sneaky and so evil that in some places they have taken out menthol cigarettes, so that people would, wait a minute, there's nothing in here, and they will go for the marijuana. But that's how everything started. You think people are going to stay just using marijuana? Of course not. They will move on to other drugs. And that's how they will become slaves to the system. They will become future criminals. Okay? And if you keep a nation sick, whether and giving them drugs. Remember the word pharmacy came from the Greek word pharmakia, which means what? Sorcery. And that's the second effects that drugs have in you, whether they are legalized or the ones that drug dealers like Al Capone used to move. Back in the days, in Al Capone's was what? Alcohol. All right. And speaking of Al Capone, yeah, that was another Al Capone psychological operation in Chicago back in the 1940s. It was done by design, ladies and gentlemen, because it was going to result in having black young men and Latino young men killing each other in Chicago. So in other words, the demons kept on, it moved on from Al Capone to the wannabe gangsters, the G's, yeah. In fact, there's one gang in Chicago, Gangsters Disciples. You see what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. It is so ridiculous. I mean, the devil is having fun, ladies and gentlemen, because he has worked. He has conditioned this society. He has brought this society to its knees. 7. People's Temple Operation, where 968 people committed suicide in Guyana, but they started in America with a CIA agent. Remember? I forgot his name, the leader's name, but I mean, there's even a movie Okay? But that was a CIA operation with success. 968 people committed suicide by drinking the Kool-Aid. That's what the term "don't drink the Kool-Aid" came out of. They committed suicide based upon what? Again, on their religious, twisted beliefs. Okay? Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, 8. The pandemics operation. Throughout human history, that's what it's been. Show me, please, show me a leader that have actually cared about its own people throughout history. Of course, MAGA will say Donald Trump in America, and the Democrats will say what? Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or whoever they may have in store. Of course, Joe Biden is history. All right, so your leaders don't care about you, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that is a fact. In fact, even if you are one of their own, and you get out of line, just like John F. Kennedy did, they will kill you, like they did him. Another psychological operation that have been going on throughout history are wars. I mean, ever since humanity existed upon this earth, ever since Cain committed the first murder by killing his brother Abel. Ladies and gentlemen, there's always been wars. Okay? In fact, God is a man of war, says the Bible. But wars for what? For the good. For the good of its creation. Because we are in a political battle and fight for your mind. Because that's where the spirit lies, in your temple. Operation 9/11. They work society so beautiful. Oh man, that to this day people believe the airplane hit the towers. Don't they know that there was no video of airplanes until the next day? Because everything was manipulated. To this day, people foolishly believe that planes, and if you believe otherwise, then you are tinfoil, crazy conspiracy theories. A term, conspiracy theorist, was a term which the CIA coined back in the 1960s because they knew that people were going to start waking up in this last days of human existence. So 9/11, forget about being an inside job. It was an agenda. It was a ritualistic, it was a ritual of death. Remember what I said, operation of death. They all are operations of death. NASA and the fake moon landing psychological operation. Okay? The greatest trick play on the human mind besides religion. Okay? To this day, people believe that men landed on the moon. But how can you land on something whose very purpose was to shine in the night? What are they going to say next time? The man is going to the stars? To the stars and beyond, like Star Trek. But first, remember what they do, ladies and gentlemen. They condition you through their movies and through their books. And these people get $53 billion a year, 53 billion, okay, when they first started a year. Now it's more. 53 billion a year, ladies and gentlemen, over what? Over doing nothing. You think they care about the well-being of America? No, they care about a job. Everything is about money because, you know, you have to, what is that old saying? You have to fake it to make it. AIDS operation. We all know that the AIDS epidemic was created. And he killed, just to begin, 30 million people back in the African continent, and it's still killing people all over the planet. The entertainment industry, Hollywood. Now you see what you have to sell your soul to the devil to be part of Hollywood, because it's a distraction and conditioning of the society. That's all Hollywood's there for. You got the abortion. That is to make human life worthless, to desensitize humanity. Okay? Oh, somebody died? Okay. There's no feeling, because remember, in this last day, as it says in Matthew 24, and since wickedness shall be abound, the love of many shall wax cold. The civil rights movement. The civil rights movement operation back in the 1960s. Another trick on the what? On the black people, which came out of the Native American Indians. But that's another subject. That's what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is gonna blow your mind. The evolution theory operation, started by Charles Darwin back in England. This man was so bored out of his mind that the devil himself possessed him and took him to the Galapagos island after going around for 5 years around the world in his boat, the Beagle. And ever since then, what? The evolution has been proven wrong. A total disaster. 19, the fear factor. See, if we don't keep the fear in you, you will not follow our ways. You understand? And they have worked all society like this, with this psychological operation, which started with the first psychological operation started by their father, by the God that they worship. They may call him Jesus Christ, even though that's not the real Redeemer's name. The real Redeemer's name is Jeshua. Okay? There was no J, so how can you call him Jesus? There was no J in his days. So ladies and gentlemen, so what happened in Texas was 69 to 80 people. And again, my deepest condolences to all of them, and I will be praying for all of them. I'm not going to see any color like some people saying, oh, they were white people. I don't care. They were human beings that were deceived. I mean, look at the cabin. Look at the camp. Camp Mystic. And it is supposed to be a Christian camp. Ladies and gentlemen, being a soldier of God is a way of life, not living somewhere in a camp. These people were set up. Because remember, one thing that the God of this world has always demanded is the shedding of blood, especially if it's innocent. Okay? In particular, the innocent ones. Okay? That's why this devil, America has been ruled by the Freemasons. That's why you see all this evil. And by the way, presidents are just figureheads. They are just puppets being run by the puppet master. Do not get it twisted. And by the way, do your research. I don't have time now on what the word MAGA means. It has to do with magicians and witchcraft. This is all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. Please take a look at the links that I will share with you. So Texas is nothing more and nothing less than another weather modification psychological operation, because the psychological operation is on the impact that it has on society. You understand? It's an act, and then it is. Remember how the government works: problem, reaction, solutions. This is all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. And again, please take a look at the links that I was saying, so you understand better and appreciate better of what I'm telling you here. And remember, our body is not against flesh and blood. This is a spiritual battle. God bless. And please share this video. There's no more time to waste. America is about to be destroyed, ladies and gentlemen, in a way that you don't see it. Even though they're showing it to you in movies, because that's what the entertainment is. Now you understand why the Simpsons are able to predict the future? Now you see it? That's how. Because they are part of it. They are part of the planning. That's why they can predict everything. And the very same thing that happened in the 1920s, that locked down the world. Remember? They were able to predict that. May God bless you. And there's more.